This is one of my favorite figures from the last year, Studio Series Perceptor. I love this figure. It's got a few flaws, though. I really don't like the fact that his legs don't lock into place at the hips or at the thighs, and then the giant gaping hole in the back. Those are my only complaints of the figure. It's a little dark, but you know what? It's fine. So, you have this really good figure, so what does Hasbro do? Well, they go ahead and re-release the figure with 2 tapes. And here they are. This is the new figure, or a repaint of the original figure. And then we have RAMHORN and RATBAT. Our little tape guys here are really cool. I love the little Autobot symbols here on the side of RAMHORN. And then if you flip RATBAT around, there's just a bat folded up there. Was so easily determined that there's a rhino in there. But each one of these comes with these 2 accessories that can then be used as weapons by any other Transformer. So for RAMHORN, we have these missile launchers, and then for RATBAT, we have these sonic blasters. And I do appreciate the fact that the little accessories are then able to be wielded by other robots. Very Steeljaw-esque, as we've seen with Steeljaw previously. But I prefer the smaller versions because they actually look half decent, as opposed to the gigantic dish that Steeljaw came with. Now, Perceptor is the exact same mold. There are very little changes happening here. We'll do a comparison between the 2 Perceptors here in just a minute. The things that I did mention, though, earlier, there is a much tighter lock on the thighs. They don't collapse outwards as easily. They still collapse, well, by outwards, I mean they don't swing this way as easily as they did on the other figure. There's a bit more of a lock pushing them out, but they do swing inwards very easily. And the other big difference is they finally added a freaking backpack or back. There's a door here that's molded in. It opens, it closes. There's no gaping hole. Hallelujah. Here are the figures right next to each other. You can see the differences right off the bat. The original figure has much darker hue of red, a darker hue of blue, and the actual black or the dark bits are black or very, very, very deep, deep charcoal. While the newer figure, brighter blue, brighter red. The silver has been replaced with white, and the actual black has been replaced with a much lighter charcoal. So you can see it there in the fists and in the crotch. And here on the chest, there is no clear plastic. So the clear plastic has been replaced by solid plastic. So there's no clear plastic in the door anymore, which, okay, didn't bother me before, doesn't bother me now. And then again, as I said, it has a hole or its door in the backpack. Yes, you do lose this big port back here, but I would much rather have the door. I mean, for real, I'm just so glad that there's a door in there, and there is a little bit of different molding happening in the hole in his back. It's really hard to show. It doesn't show up on camera. Otherwise, oh, and there's no clear plastic in the spyglass either, on the front or the back. So it's just solid painted plastic on the new figure as opposed to the old figure. The other differences between the figures has to do with the head sculpt. As you could see, the new head sculpt on the right has the yellow paint right at the top of his forehead, while the head sculpt on the left has a shiny, darkish hue of yellow. I like the one on the right more. I still love the transformation for this figure. The only addition is now you open the chest up to flip the head in, or open the back up to flip the head in. It's a fun transformation. It's very simple. It works well. It's intuitive. There's nothing crazy going on here, and I appreciate that. It has a third-party feel to it slightly, which I think is kind of neat. There were a bunch of third-party versions of the character released over the past few years that, well, they're all fine. I don't have a problem with any of them. In fact, I like some of them. But the all mode we end up with, still a microscope. And here are two microscopes next to each other. They both look good. I think the one thing I actually really, really like is, okay, on the old version of the figure, you have the Autobot symbol, which was through the chest and is up here. And on the new version of the figure, the Autobot symbol is just a little lower, but it needs to be because that's completely solid. Yeah, both of these are perfectly fine. I do find it weird that the clips, though, are dark brown. Does that mean that this figure was originally dark brown and then painted red? That is so weird. Now, the one thing that absolutely sucks about this new Perceptor figure is that the figure has a wider torso now. And because of that, the tank mode doesn't really work anymore. So on this figure, the torso is just a smidge smaller width-wise. So you could pull off the tank mode. And the tank mode is in the directions for this original figure. The tank mode has been removed from the directions of this new figure, and you can't really pull it off. It loosely works, but you have to flip the arms out and unpeg them, and then you're left with it looking a little wonky as opposed to much more cohesive. That is such a bummer, though. All right, let's look at the tapes now. So we got RAMHORN here. Reach inside and flip out the head, flip out the horns, then come underneath and flip out the stumpy little feet, like so. Fold them down like that. We got ourselves a little tiny RAMHORny dude. Once we've got the robot mode ready to go, flip the robot mode upside down so the legs are pointing up. Then take the gun, and there's this little slot right where the tips of my finger are. That will peg into the robot mode's keister, and then the missile launchers flip around, and there we go. And now for RATBAT. This is going to be super simple. Turn the figure around, flip down his little legs, flip down the wings, and fold them out. And then take the head, and you can bring it forward. You're supposed to be able to push it down like that, like he has his head in the show. There we go. And then we just take the little backpack, come to the back of the figure, fold up this little half peg like that, and take the backpack and fold the thing like this, and peg it in, and there we go. We've got our little RATBAT guy. RAMHORN is a little cutie. Short, stocky, super chunky. Unfortunately, his head can't pose at all, but he's so cute. He's just got a little dump truck keister. He's just a tiny little murder machine. And then there's RATBAT, who is my favorite of the two, by far. And yes, I realize I had the backpack on completely wrong when I transformed him. Whoopsie-doodle. But it's so good looking. I love it. We now have Rumble Frenzy Ravage and RATBAT. I just have to find, all the others. One issue I do have, though, and I haven't figured out what to do yet. You can probably see it. The thrusters on the backpack put the backpack farther down than the legs can go. Though I can't argue with the paint or the aesthetic of RATBAT. I just love the way this thing looks. Overall, it's a neat little set. I do like it. I am glad I picked it up, and I picked it up at my local Target. Though I really wish Hasbro would just release a G1 colored Soundwave with all of his tapes and Blaster with all of his tapes. That is my dream. Put it on the Hasbro Pulse, make it an exclusive, I don't care, but I would buy it. Overall, this set is good. I mostly bought it for RAMHORN and RATBAT. I didn't need a new Perceptor, but I'm kind of glad I got it because it's definitely more Generation 1 accurate, or not Generation 1, I should say animation accurate, as opposed to the original Studio Series figure. And they fixed a couple of things, so that's a positive. All right, folks, let me know what you think of this set down in the comments. Thank you all for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.